Hello and welcome to the old Fliers. Climate skeptics now accept that the Earth's climate is changing, and not for the better. Summers are hotter and longer. The last 4 summers in particular, wildfires burn vulnerable acreage such as in the countries of America, Greece, Spain, Canada and Australia. Once fire takes hold, there is little to stop them. Intense fires create their own weather systems, drawing in hot winds to fan the flames. Fire outbreaks are now being detected earlier by satellite technology, leading to a quicker reaction from firefighting crews. The continent of Australia is particularly prone to bushfires. Eucalypt trees are very flammable, being rich in volatile oils. It is dangerous to approach these fires by a fire truck. The idea of fighting fires from the air dates from 1929. Friedrich Karl von Koenig-Warthausen, try saying that quickly, was flying his Clem L-20 above the Santa Lucia Range in California when he flew over a fire. In his book Wings Around the World, it was then he thought how much easier it would be to fight fires from the air. His theories were greeted with a mixture of mockery and rejection. The means to fight fires from the air would be years in the making. During World War II, obsolete bombers and cargo aircraft, many from the pre-war years, were retrofitted for aerial firefighting missions. The first operational air tanker was developed by the Willows Flying Service in 1955 at the request of the Fire Control Officer for the Mendocino National Forest. A Boeing Stearman 75 Cadet agricultural aircraft was modified with a 170-gallon tank. This aircraft became the first registered free-fall air tanker in the history of aviation. The first airdrop was made on the Mendenhall fire on August 12, 1955. In 1956, 7 agricultural aircraft were modified and formed the first operational air tanker squadron. In the United States, piloted by local aviators, this squadron from Willows Airport fought wildfires throughout California. Initially, plain water was used as the fire suppressant. However, it was discovered that most of the water evaporated before reaching the fire. The practice was adopted of adding chemicals to the water to inhibit evaporation. After the war, there were many surplus wartime aircraft such as the A-26 Invader, DC-4 and Martin Mars aircraft that could be modified for aerial firefighting. Now, obsolete piston airliners like the Douglas DC-6 and DC-7 became available as jet aircraft became the choice for airlines. In 1959, heavy air tankers capable of carrying 2,000 gallons of fire retardant were providing an effective tool in controlling wildfires. Today, the use of single-engine air tankers and large air tankers have become a staple for fire suppression. Single-engine air tankers can drop up to 800 gallons, that's 3 tons, and Type 1 air tankers 3,000 gallons or 11.3 tons. It became imperative to ensure ground personnel were clear of the area for obvious reasons. It has been nearly 60 years since the first aerial firefighting in Australia. On the 6th of February 1967, 2 Piper Pawnee pilots were contracted from Alpine Aviation to drop retardant on a small lightning strike fire in northeastern Victoria. They were able to contain a remote fire until the ground crews were able to walk in some 5 hours later to ensure it was safe. The 1960s and 1970s were the beginning of serious aerial firefighting. Aircraft manufacturers such as Canadair began to design purpose-built aerial firefighting aircraft like the CL-215. It also marked the beginning of the fire attack helicopters equipped with heli buckets to collect and drop water. Modular air tankers are a recent innovation. Modules can be purpose configured for each mission and easily swapped between different aircraft, allowing for greater uniformity across aerial firefighting operations. The adoption of night vision drop technology allows for 24-hour operations in an area of aviation that has long been relegated to daytime-only flights. Bob Murphy gives a good summation of firefighting in Australia, detailing the pros and cons of operations and equipment.
What do we have here that's any good? Well, John Landwehr put it beautifully that the machines we've got here can do the job, are doing the job, really no problems, I think, but the best one is this Sikorsky, without any shadow of a doubt. Can carry, I think, 11 tonne of water, can pick up from dams, it can pick up from wherever you want to, and it's also got a scoop and its turnaround time. Whereas if we have a Boeing 747 or DC-10, which carries 75 tonne of water, now if you're in a place like Muckenbuden or Nannup or something like that, and your place is on fire and a 747 comes in and drops 75 tonne of water, you're going to think, isn't that wonderful? Your neighbour's going to say, boy, I'm next, but he's got to wait 2.5 hours. Aircraft or any other piece of machinery that can have dual purpose is a bonus, isn't it? These are the alternatives. Now this is the magnificent Hercules. Now you'll see they're loading in there a module. That module can carry 11 tonne of water and it weighs about 4 or 5 tonnes. It can be loaded into that Hercules in maybe 1.5, 2 hours. The Hercules can fly with the ramp up and it discharges out those side doors that are replaced. Where's it going to operate in Western Australia? Nowhere. The wise men over east just happened to be emailing me and said that these are wonderful things and they can operate anywhere in Australia within 2 hours from Sydney. Anybody know a Hercules that can fly at 1,800 mile an hour? And the wise men of the east, there's no doubt about it. Okay. There she is there discharging. See how it's discharging out of the doors? The doors are replaced. That is a wonderful thing, but until we get Hercules based here, which we probably never will, pipe dream that one, but this is a beautiful machine. And the new ones with the J model, magnificent.
He references a WA Department of Fire and Emergency Services talk given by John Landwehr. John explained how a supervisor would orbit above the firefighting aircraft in a Champion Scout aircraft to coordinate and spot fires, directing inward and outward traffic below him. John's summation of the advantages of various firefighting platforms is thorough.
How we do our business. Okay, so we've got a fire down there. We establish a area of operations, and with that area of operations, we've got a NOTAM. And I'm sure every pilot in the room has probably seen it. Okay, NOTAM reads, unnotified intense aviation activity associated with firefighting operations may occur within 5 nautical mile radius and below 3,000 feet AGL of observed fires. As we're transiting the fireground, so we transit navally at 1,500 feet AGL, we have 2 calls into the fireground. The first call at 5-minute inbound, so 10 nautical miles. We're still 20 k's from that fireground. The air attack supervisor, or the supervisor of that aircraft, is just asking for strategies, hazards, phone. They're 20 k's away, they're just seeing a column of smoke. They just want to know what part of the fireground they want to go to, what's your strategy, are there any hazards, known, and can they use phone. So in the aircraft we have water, but we also have a foam additive which enhances the water. Water gives you about 5 minutes of cooling property on the ground. Foam gives you about 20 to 25 minutes of cooling property, and the red retardant, that's a long-term product that until it gets wet again, gives you that fire inhibiting property. As they transit into the fireground, we'll put our helitax, our rotary aircraft, at 500 feet AGL, and then we just stack our aircraft. We put our seats at our fixed-wing aircraft at 1,000, our supervisory platform at 1,500, and our air intelligence platform at 2,500, or as high as we can get. So we just stack it at 500-foot intervals just to avoid any sort of conflict, and that also allows all the aircraft that are flying the fire to be over the top of the fire and observing the fire rather than holding them out horizontally. We'll try for a vertical stack first. If we can't, then we'll go to a horizontal.
Finally, I want to relate a sad tale of not what to do to protect your property from fire. A friend of mine lives with his family in the hills near Perth. His house is surrounded by trees. Aware of the fire risk, he laid pipes over his roof connected to a pump that drew water from his swimming pool. Proud of his work, he didn't worry too much when he heard that a fire was racing through the forest towards them. As heat increased, the pipes on his roof melted as they were PVC, not copper. The pump wouldn't work as it was electric and the power lines had been burnt. Then a helicopter came over and sucked all the water from his swimming pool. Thank you for watching. Stay safe out there. Please like and subscribe to encourage new content.